getting to know them personally with interviews on Rock Made of Metal.
My name is John Cooper. I sing and I play bass for Skillet. And it's awesome to be out here. I'm so very excited to be in Glasgow. I actually visited Glasgow like, what would it be, 16 years ago. And I loved this city in general. It's so cool to finally come out here and see some of the fans.
Absolutely, and you were kind of talking about it there as well, about how it took so long to get over here as well, like 18 years as you said. I mean, now that you're here doing your first headline tour as well too, I mean, has that anticipation kind of played on your thoughts for this by any chance?
Not really, you know. I mean, it's such a different world now than when we first started. You know, when we first started, I think Skillet was one of the first bands to ever have like a website and stuff, you know, and I had never even heard of the internet when we had our first website out, and my guitar player was saying, it's the World Wide Web, and you go, I was like, what are you talking about? Is it like science fiction, you know? And so now, you know, I get tweets from Scotland, from Ireland, from, you know, come here. I had no idea people knew our music over here until a few years ago, and I started getting tweets. So it's a long answer. All that to say, I'm not really nervous. Like, oh, it's all what's going to happen. I feel that we already have a little bit of an audience and people that know us and respect us, and we have a kind of a small relationship with them too. So it's I don't know. It's just funny how much the world's changed. You know?
As well too. I mean, you were saying, like, and it's also about this idea, like, I'm getting this kind of tone of the fact, like, this kind of tour, and, you know, even with something later on that mentioned as well too, it's just about breaking Europe a little bit more as well too. I mean, how's that kind of, like, is that kind of true then? Is this kind of what this is all about then, just about breaking Europe then?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that there's so many people in the world that even if rock music is not, you know, mainstream pop culture in England or in Scotland or wherever, there is a culture of people that love rock music, and you know, they've been asking for a long time for, you know, bands that they love to come over. So yes, I would say most of our focus in the last 2 years has been to break Europe. You know, we've invested a lot of money into it because, you know, at this point in our career, you're turning down dates to do other dates. So to turn down, you know, big American dates to do smaller European dates is an investment, which we're happy to make, because there are some really great fans, and there are some big audiences out here for Skillet. And I think if we work at it for a little while, we can, you know, find ourselves playing some big shows out here. So yes, we put a lot into it, but it's worth it. It's been fun.
I mean, so is that kind of the reason behind then of the Vital Signs album that you've just released as well too? I mean, I heard that was completely exclusively European. Was I right in saying that?
You know, I actually even forgot. You just said that, I was like, Vital, oh yeah, I named that record.
So clearly an important album then.
I can't tell you, man. We've been so busy. That's a little embarrassing. But yes, you know, this came up about doing this record. I was like, yeah, sure. That time, I thought it was a great idea. And then they said it. What do you think about this? And I said, why don't you call it like Vital Signs or something, like, you know? And I think that's kind of cool. And they said okay. And I totally forgot that it happened. But it's cool because it's basically like a greatest hits record that I think people in America would really love to get, you know. So yes, that is the reason we did that. Was because of the tour, and I think it's all kind of working together now to build that audience.
As well too. I mean, so I was just talking a little about that album as well, because you must have gone back and like listened to some of the previous stuff you did as well with that album, and again, 18 years and trying to enter a new market. I mean, so let's talk about that. I mean, how was it kind of going back and listening to your previous material then? Like, what kind of thoughts did you have on it, like, now?
You know, I think when you tour a lot, you always, it's not a mystery what songs people like, and you always get a sense of that when you see a band play live. You know, I know I do as a fan when I see bands play. Oh, this is their big song. You know, you feel that emotion in the crowd. You know, and that kind of power. It's hard to describe what it is, and so it wasn't that difficult because I kind of had a feeling that these are the songs people really like. But you do have to cut some of them off. You know, there's certainly other songs that were in the running. So, you know, going back and listening to older albums is sometimes, it's hard to explain, you know, because you know how music always defines an era of your life. You might hear a song like, oh, I remember where I was when it can remind you of a good time or a bad time. And, you know, there are certain songs in our career that remind me of bad times, you know, or just hard times.
Like, can you give us some examples of that then?
Yeah, you know, like for instance, our latest record is called Rise, and it was the most difficult record we ever made. It was so hard, and we fought a lot. Not the band really, but I fought with the label. I fought with my producer, and it got to a point when I just thought I can never record a record like this again. It was terrible, and to tell you the truth, I can't listen to the record because it you know, it so puts me in that place that I just get mad. It's not like I hate the songs, it's just oh, that reminds me of when we fought about that guitar part with the producer. And so there are albums like that, or specifically our early records. It just reminds me of being in a van, never sleeping, you know. One time when we finally got a bus, and our driver, we had to fire our driver the morning of a show. It had enough, and nobody knew how to drive, and I had to learn how to drive the bus.
Can you describe this bus quickly? Is this like a full double decker kind of size here? Are we talking like a van?
Oh no, it was a bus. Now in America we don't do double deckers, but it was as big as that. You know, it's that tall, and it's a little bit longer than the double deckers here.
Okay, so you had to learn how to drive this. How terrified were you?
I was scared to death, and my family was in my kids were in there. You know, my wife is in the band, and I was just praying. I was just this is not how I want to die. And somebody was showing me before. He's like, yeah, you do this and this. I can't believe that we didn't die on so many times, on so many levels of our career. So sometimes I hear songs that remind me of that era, and it's a little painful.
Can you imagine that as well? Like, yeah. I'll come back to this in a different view in a sec, but let's talk about Rise as an album then, because is it difficult then that's, I mean, I kind of heard this from a quote from another interview, that was like the album that kind of essentially broke you into the European kind of market then. Is it difficult for you then to like have this kind of view of this album as well too, but then have it also be this success of an album?
Right. Not really, you know. I mean, I believe in the music, and you know, what do you think? No, it's I know what you mean, but it's not interrelated. No, it's exciting, but I don't mind playing songs, you know. It's also have to hear it, you know. I don't want to be the one to physically hear it. Yeah.
Just like at that point, just like you have like some of a song playing in your head or something.
Yeah, that's right. Like, turn it off. You know better, man.
Yeah, that's no problem as well. So, I mean, there was the other side I wanted to look at it as well was actually the family kind of thing as well. I mean, 18 years as well too. You know, you have your wife is in the band as well and stuff like that. I mean, like when you were doing this album for Vital Signs as well, and you're looking back on that, did you ever kind of think about that kind of aspect of it as well, to how your life is like around this band to any extent?
I mean, yes, it is hard to imagine, you know, our lives without Skillet, because I've been married for, let's see, 17 years, and the band has been for 18 years. So it's a little, everything we've done has always been wrapped up in this. You know, ever since we got married, we've been on the road together. So yes, it definitely is a journey in that kind of a way. That sounds a little trite maybe, or cheesy, but it is. When I hear the albums, you know, you remember that era, you remember recording the record, you remember what you were going through, and I've been experiencing it with my wife the whole time. Then when we had kids later, you know, I remember recording those records with the kids, or when they were just being born. So yeah, definitely every song will remind me of a certain time in my life, and it has been a journey. It's been crazy, and I honestly can't believe that we're still doing it. I mean, there are not many bands that are ever together for this long unless they are extremely successful, like Aerosmith or something, or Metallica, and we are certainly not, like those bands. So we've had a very unique story. It's been very underground and very word of mouth for a very long time, until 2009, really, when we released our Awake album. We had some radio success, and those are songs that when I hear remind me of good times. So there are some songs here, I remember that. I remember when radio finally played one of our songs, that was a good feeling. Hey, what's up? This is John from the band Skillet, and you are watching Rock Made of Metal. Point down to subscribe, point right to watch more videos like Skillet.